Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So yesterday a new estimate was released showing just how big of an increase we can all expect to receive next year in 2024 for Social Security, SSI, SSDI, as well as VA. So we're going to be going over that update in this video, but before we go ahead and dive right into it, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so yesterday we of course had some inflation results come in for the month of July. Of course, this is just a 1 month delay. So in August we have the data for July. In September we're going to have the data for August and moving forward. So according to CNN, consumer prices rose by 3.2% annually in July, picking up for the first time in 13 months. So whenever we had the data for June that was released last month in July, that came in at 3% year over year. The reason why this is mainly increasing now from 3 to 3.2% is that last year during this time, that's when inflation actually began to tick down. So even though inflation isn't really increasing that much more than what it really has been, since it was going down last year, it's now up 3.2%. So for the first time in more than 12 months, the pace of consumer price hikes accelerated on an annual basis. The consumer price index rose 3.2% for the year through July, up from June's 3% annual increase, according to the data released Thursday by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The annual headline rates increase, which was largely due to year-over-year comparisons to July 2022, when monthly inflation turned negative, came in below economists' expectations for a 3.3% annual gain. So all in all, not too bad here. And you can see the chart up on the screen there that pretty much where inflation stands and where it stood before. You can see that large spike all the way up above 8%, close to 9%. And of course, we had the COLA of 8.7% last year. And most notably there, you can see the recessions that have taken place whenever we had this inflation number come down. So of course, we had a recession back in 2008. And, a lot of economists expected us to run into another recession at some point this year. So far, we have avoided it. But most notably, look at the chart. If you remember, actually last year, we did have a slight recession. And then, of course, we had the White House and a lot of members of the media changing the very definition of a recession. You can question their motives of why they changed the definition of a recession to make the situation look a little bit better. But a recession is and always has been 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. And that's exactly what we had last year in 2022. So, a lot of economists are saying, hey, we may still end up in another recession. But the fact of the matter is, we actually already had a recession last year. So if we avoid one this year, we still had one last year. We just may end up in another one this year. But again, if you remember, they changed the definition of a recession. We actually had a recession last year. And then they're like, oh, no, that's not a recession. It's actually this. This is what a recession is, not the very definition of what a recession has always been. So just to put that straight for a moment. So, of course, with those inflation numbers released yesterday by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, we had some new projections for what the cost of living adjustment will be next year in 2024 for Social Security retirement, SSI, SSDI, as well as VA. So according to the Senior Citizens League, the COLA estimate for 2024 is still 3%. So last month they had a projection as well, and they came in at 3%, which was a little bit higher than their previous projection. This month it's still at 3%. So we are zooming in, getting much closer to what the number is actually going to be. This 3% estimate is getting much closer to probably what it's going to end up being, right on the nose. So the Social Security cost of living adjustment for 2024 is looking increasingly like it may be around 3% based on consumer price data released today, according to the Senior Citizens League. Overall, the inflation rate in July is significantly lower than a year ago. However, most older Americans report that persistently high prices still affect their household budgets, according to results from a new survey by TSCL. The Consumer Price Index for Urban Wage Earners and Clerical Workers, CPIW, the index that's used to determine the COLA, was up 2.6% year over year. However, the average monthly inflation rate has risen slightly, especially since January of this year, keeping the COLA estimate at 3% based on July price data. So this is extremely important. This is why the numbers of July are extremely important and the 2 months ahead, because the way they calculate the COLAs every single year is based on the third quarter data of the current year compared to the third quarter data of the previous year. So the third quarter, of course, is July, August, and September. So now we have the first month of the 3-month data that we're going to be looking at. So next month we're going to have the August data, and the following month in October we're going to have the data for September. So once we have the 3 months for July, August, and September for the CPIW numbers, we're just going to compare the numbers from this year to last year and see how much it has risen by. So if on average it's risen by 2.5%, that's going to be the COLA the next year, 2.5%. If it's risen by 3%, which it looks like it may be, these are the new projections, 3%, then that's going to be the COLA next year of 3%. And it looks like it's probably going to come in at 3% unless something, major happens where inflation just suddenly decides to start taking off again, or maybe it starts, going on the decline. More than likely, it is going to be 3%. We now have one of the three numbers. So of course, you can see up on the screen here the release dates. So next month, we're going to have a release on September 13th. That's going to give us the August data. And then finally on October 12th, we're going to have the data for September. So whenever the data gets released on October 12th is the day in which we'll know how big of an increase we're going to be receiving next year. And then of course, you're going to have some items deducted from your Social Security check, like your Medicare Part B premiums. And we're going to be going over that in just a second. So you can see up on the screen here what a 3% increase would mean for all Social Security beneficiaries. So for the typical retiree this year, the average check in 2023 is $1,827. If we were to receive a 3% COLA, that would mean the 2024 benefit would be $1,882, which would be a monthly increase of $55, or an annual increase of $657. Then for SSDI beneficiaries, this year on average, the 2023 benefit is right around $1,483, with a 3% boost in those benefits. Next year, that's going to be a boost of up to $1,527, which would be a monthly increase of $44, or an annual increase of $533. Now, as far as SSI beneficiaries go for individuals, the max benefit this year, this is the max. The average, of course, is much lower in 2023, is $914, with a 3% boost. That would be boosted up to $941, which would be a monthly increase of just $27, or an annual increase of just $329. And once again, that's if you're receiving the max SSI benefit. Now, for those of you who are on retirement benefits and you made a lot during your working career and you're able to max out your benefit, congratulations to you. Well, this year, the max benefit is $3,627. That's if you retire at your full retirement age, whether it's 66 or 67, that benefit is $3,627. So if we receive a 3% COLA, that would boost your 2024 benefit up to $3,736, which would be a monthly increase of $109, or an annual increase of $1,308. Now, of course, we are expected to see an increase in the Medicare Part B premium. So as you can see on the far right there, the Medicare Part B premium is estimated to be $179.80, which is going to be a $14.90 increase. So obviously that's going to take these checks down a little bit. Obviously those who are receiving the smallest increase out of the 3% is going to be affected the most by this $14.90 increase, and it's not going to affect those who are earning the most out of this money. Now, this article by the Senior Citizens League goes on to say that in 2023, Social Security recipients received the highest COLA in more than 40 years, but 79% of retirees report that lingering high prices continue to impact household budgets significantly. Here are responses from the Senior Citizens League most recent retirement survey launched mid-July 2023. So they ask, how would you characterize your monthly budget for essential items like housing, food, and prescription drugs over the past 12 months? And out of the people responding to this, 79% said that is higher than this time 1 year ago. So obviously, Even though inflation isn't 8.7% as it was last year, it's just, anywhere between 2.5 to 3.2%. It's still affecting most Americans. They're still seeing the higher prices at the grocery store, and most recently at gas stations. It's nearing $4 once again. They're saying it's going to be going back down. Let's hope so, because right now everything just seems completely unaffordable. And according to this poll, 79% of Americans would agree with my statement. But let me know what your thoughts and comments are below on that. Do you believe that prices are still on the rise? Are you looking at everything and still seeing it going higher than even last year? Let me know what your thoughts and comments are below. But that's all I have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you in the next video.